We are wrapping up our top 10 lists of players across the NFL today. And this one's going to be a lot more fun because the Broncos actually have a cornerback who made the list. And he placed pretty highly on there too. That's on the way. We've got a couple of other topics we're going to hit and a fun draft at the end. Don't actually know what that's going to be, but we have two really good options. Maybe we'll let you guys decide also. So we're going to be live in about 30 seconds when, so we'll see you then. Welcome into the Toyota Lounge for the DNVR Broncos Podcast. I was told we have to do this really quickly because we need to make graphics. So we're going to throw a poll up in the chat right now. You guys get to decide what we're going to draft today. We have two options. Todd, what are they?
They are non-alcoholic drinks. So your juices, your sodas, your ginger beers, whatever you want to do.
Water, if you're a big water guy.
Un agua.
Yeah.
And then we also have childhood snacks. And for some people, they're your current snacks. So just snacks in general. Let us know what you guys want to do.
Yeah, some Gushers. I loved Gushers.
You know? Why do you love Gushers?
Because of the flavor. Not because of anything else, Todd.
It's not the burst.
I mean, the outside of it tastes good. The inside tastes good. I'm just worried that I'm not going to dig too deep here. Otherwise, I have a feeling you're going to pause me.
Huh. Well, I don't know. Gushers are good. I mean, I can't deny that Gushers are good, but it's hard for me to eat anything with like a feeling like that. Like I don't like jelly filled donuts and stuff. Do you?
I do like the ones that have what's inside those? It's like a custard.
Yeah.
Though I do like those. The jelly, I'm not a huge fan of, but like when you get like the maple on top with like it's like pudding inside. I don't even know.
The white custard inside.
Yeah. It's really good. It's really good. Yeah, I do like those. But I also agree, Taco Bell had those. They're like the cinnamon and sugar covered little donut things.
Those are good.
But they have like the frosting inside too.
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh, the twist. Are you talking about the twist?
No, the twists are good because they have like the little donut balls. Those are a little bit tough for me too. Yeah, wow. I mean, today's a Thursday. But we aren't doing a show tomorrow because we are doing one on Sunday. So today is basically our Friday, which is why we're doing a draft today. And we can justify some nonsense too, honestly.
I love it.
What do we have to talk about? So I'm rebuilding Hawaii in the video game.
Yep.
2 seasons in, went 3-9 the first year, 4-8 the second year. Didn't get fired, but things are looking pretty dire. I have like the season's over. I've got like 9 recruits signed up. I've got to fill out an entire recruiting class in this off season. I think I'm gonna get fired after this season.
Is it just bad coaching? What's going on?
Oh, it's bad everything. It's really bad everything. The only thing that's going well is that I got this like he was an athlete, but he was best at quarterback, and he's sick. He's like crazy fast. He can throw better than you think. And so his freshman year, this year, he was pretty good. But he just got so banged up that the second half of the season, he wasn't as fast, and the offense just fell apart. So
are you trying to keep most of your old players, or are you trying, like, the new method of, like, the guys that we had here weren't really making it happen, we had to bring in talent? What are you doing?
So the problem is I can't really keep guys even if I wanted to because we're so bad.
Wow.
So all the good players are leaving, so there's plenty of open spots. I'm struggling to get anybody to come out to the islands.
Dang.
Especially when I'm not winning anything anyway. Like I had this crazy fast running back who was a junior and I was playing him at receiver. I was moving him around. He's gone. My best pass rusher's gone. It's going to be a really ugly season, and then I'm going to get fired.
It is hard to get people to come to the islands because Hawaii was like the only, like the biggest school that wanted me at the time.
Oh, really?
But, the whole kind of like 8-hour flight and only get to come home once a year kind of like turned me off. So
yeah.
Sac State, as opposed to the East Coast schools that had interest in me, was the one that was closest to home. My parents could get to every game and all that good stuff. So
the other thing you got to think about too, the travel time there
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my players are jet lagged every game.
Yeah, that's
they've got to be.
terrible.
They showed a graphic of
they suck.
How far Hawaii has to travel this year in real life, and I'm pretty sure it's something absurd, like 90,000 miles.
That's crazy.
They have to go far. I think 20,000 miles longer than anybody else in the country.
That's crazy.
That is
They
crazy.
should take cruises sometimes. Like they gotta
That
leave
would
a
be
couple
fun.
days early.
Would you have committed?
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
You got to practice on the upper deck, though. You know what I'm saying? You can't just be relaxed.
Yeah, you'd have to like get a custom cruise ship.
Yeah.
I can't believe you were able to turn down Hawaii. Like, I get that there are a lot of flaws with, like, it's a lot better in theory than in practice, but still, like, the offer to go to Hawaii.
But you know, like they're selling you so hard at different schools. So Sac State is like, you know, things are looking up for us. We're really making things happen. The WAC has already reached out.
Yeah.
And you know, in the next two years, we're supposed to join the WAC.
Okay.
Blah blah blah. So I'm like, okay, if we're gonna be playing Hawaii anyway, I don't need to go to, and the same competition, I don't need to go all the way to Hawaii. Of course,
Yeah.
none of that happened because it was just a way for them to sell the school to me. But that was kind of my mindset about it too.
Even the thing is, like, it's Hawaii. Like, could you imagine how much fun you would have had there? And I guess now, like, because you made the smarter decision and went to probably a better school, you got the opportunities you got, things went well. Now you can just go to Hawaii whenever you want, really.
Yeah.
Which is a perk. But still, like, college in Hawaii would just be insane.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess the kids in the video game don't seem to think so either, so you're not alone.
No, I think it would have been awesome. But another point is that they were kind of later in my
Okay.
decision process.
Okay.
So it was like maybe a week before I had verbally to Sac State. You know, they come on and they start the process then, and it's not like I can take an official visit.
True.
You know, it's like all that kind of stuff. So I think it all worked out though. You know what I'm saying? But Hawaii, Hawaii's dope. I love to go to Hawaii, take the kids. We travel, and the
Yep.
school's on the Big Island, so it would have felt more like a city. And not having gone before then, I probably would have felt like it would be more of an island, but
Okay.
Waikiki is definitely a city.
Yeah. So my dad grew up. So he moved all over the place when he was growing up, but he moved from Missoula to Honolulu when he was 3. And he was there for like 4 years,
Yeah.
maybe. And actually, his big brother was classmates with Barack Obama there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they went to like all like little yearbooks and stuff. They have pictures, little Barry Obama.
Wow.
Yeah, we won't dig any deeper into politics than that. But yeah, so we went when I was like in middle school, and stayed like near Waikiki, and it was I'm a big Hawaii fan.
Yeah.
It's a hassle to get to, and it's crazy expensive, but I am a fan. The other thing that happened to me last night is that I went to mini
Don't
golf.
tell them everything.
We
You know
won't.
what
We
I'm
don't
saying?
need to talk about
It
everything.
was his anniversary, so
Yeah.
happy anniversary
Yes,
to
3 years.
Hank and his lady, you know?
Yes. But we went mini golfing after dinner, and there's like this trendy mini golf place downtown.
The one that's indoors.
Yeah.
And then there's like you walk in and there's a bar to the left.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
That place was fucking incredible.
It's fun, yeah. It's definitely fun.
But they changed it. Now it's Holy Moly.
Holy moly.
They sold. So
Same thing.
they did a really good job with the themes,
Okay.
but also the actual golf aspect. I wasn't a huge fan of how they set those courses up. I know it's not meant for that. It's not meant for
Yes.
that. But as somebody who like loves mini golf, it's like half Meow Wolf, half like mini golf, but they didn't really focus on making like the golf holes all that like.
Yeah, this
I
is
wasn't
not
thinking.
a time to try and get down on one knee and read the green. Like,
No.
You know what I'm saying? You're just supposed to go and putt.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
You're supposed to like figure it
No,
out.
I realized pretty quickly. And about halfway through, Lexi just looked at me and said, "We're not ever coming back here, are we?" And I was like, I thought I was playing it off. Like they were doing it. They're just a couple of things. Like, you know how in mini golf, a lot of it's about like the angles. You got to like bounce off things.
Yeah.
A lot of the walls are like made of like plywood or some sort of board or something. So it doesn't bounce.
Uh-huh.
So you try to bounce off the wall, it's just dead. And so it'll just stay there.
Uh,
So I need like a real mini golf experience here in the next couple days before
Dang,
camp
that
starts.
sucks.
I know it's It actually has made me want to mini golf more. I won by like 6 shots, by the way. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, no. Just because it's just your anniversary doesn't mean you can lose. Like,
oh God,
I love you to death, but I'm not gonna let you. Because the thing about it is, when your girl beats you or something, or thinks she beats you or something, she says it all the time.
I know.
She'll try and hold it over your head, so you cannot let them win.
We played Madden like 2 years ago. We played a game of Madden, and so you can change it. So I'm on like the all Madden difficulty, and she's on like the easiest difficulty. I forget what they rookie.
Yep.
And she beat me.
Yeah.
And so then we never played again because she beat me, and that was it. And luckily with this new college football game, we did the same thing again, and she beat me again. But then we played on like even levels, and I won. And then yesterday she played as, I can't remember who she played as, but I took Air Force. Oh, Minnesota, of course. I took Air Force and was just running the triple option all over. It was incredible.
Yeah.
I think that might be the last time we play that game together. Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's see. We got 5 minutes left in this segment. Let's hit this first. Should the Broncos be playing their starters in this preseason? It's a debate that we kind of have on the podcast every year, and since we aren't going to see you again until after all these preseason games have happened, what do you think?
Yes.
Yep.
Do they need to play all 3 games? No. But I think there does need to be a bit of a warm-up there. And I always felt like, for me, we played the first, second, and third preseason game. Didn't play the fourth. But that third preseason game, you play like half the game. And no matter how hard training camp was, no matter how hard I worked out, I always felt out of shape. Like it's something about a full half of play without any water breaks. You're not coming to the sideline. Like, you don't know. Because, most of the time in practice, when you guys run 8 plays, you have your 8. Then you'll be on the sideline for about 8, and you'll be back on for 8 more. With this, you may go 8 plays in a row, then you get a 3 and out by the offense, and you got to get back on the field. So it definitely is like a change of pace as opposed to like how you play in practice. So I always think it's important for guys to play a half of football somewhere in the preseason to be able to get their lungs up, get their communication right, and just understand what it feels like to play a real game. Yeah,
I think I agree. It's always tough to justify putting them out there when they could just get hurt. We talked yesterday, I think, a little bit about the offensive line. They were incredibly healthy last year. And that just goes such a long way where you look at it like, I don't think they've lost anybody in the preseason last year. But obviously, like Tim Patrick for the last couple of years in practice has gotten hurt. When you lose a player in a preseason game, it just feels horrible because it feels like you were playing them for nothing anyway. So what did you really gain? But given where the Broncos are right now, I think you have to. Like you need Bo Nix to play well.
Yep.
And I think that you just kind of have to accept that bad things could happen, but we need to get Bo as many reps as we can, and for that reason, you need him out there. I think you need him out there in all 3 preseason games.
Yeah.
Like maybe first and last it's just for a drive or 2 drives or something like that. But I think that you need, especially just to go through like the preparing for the game process a few times to put the game plan together. Even it's going to be small. It's preseason. You're out there for a couple drives, but just going through that process a few times could really pay off early in the season. And if Bo's out there, I don't want to put Bo out there with a backup left tackle. As much as I think like Garrett Bowles probably doesn't need a whole bunch of snaps in the preseason, I think Bo Nix needs snaps, and I think that Bo needs Garrett if he's going to be out there. So because you're in this situation you are in with Bo, I think the Broncos should play the starters more than just about every team in the NFL, more than maybe all but a handful.
Yeah, I agree. I want to go back to the first point about injuries. And the NFL is a weird job because the injury rate is so high.
Yeah. Our injury rate at DNVR is very low.
Very, very low.
Yes.
I have seen a couple people get injured coming up the steps right here.
They always, there's that one step that's a different height.
They bounce back usually. Is quick. But it's a weird dynamic because you want to try to protect your players as much, but you have to prepare. And, you can't stop or limit the preparation to be your best in season just because somebody may get hurt. And we've seen it, time and time again that players get hurt in preparation for the season when they're at training camp, but they also get hurt back at home.
Yeah.
Like guys get hurt training all the time on their own, but that doesn't mean that you should tell everybody, hey, don't train and we'll just get you started, when you come back to training camp. You have to continue to build and you have to continue to progress. So if it's whether you should be timid to play your starters because they may get hurt, or do you want to prepare your starters for the season ahead, I'd much rather prepare your starters and communicate with them about recovery and stretching and preparation to be able to play those games than I would, probably be timid and not want to play them because of injury.
Yep. I'm right there with you. And we're going to come back to this, but real quick, Bet365, an awesome partner of ours. It's been a couple of slow betting days. There aren't a lot of sports going on, unless you like betting on Summer League basketball, which would be an insane thing to do. I decided just throw $10 on the Nuggets to win the entire thing. If they do that, then you win like $3,000 or something because they weren't supposed to be any good. So I was like, that's a good use of that money. Because then you don't have to bet on every game. You just bet once, and then you see they're bad in the first game, and you're like, I'm out $10, but at least I gave it a shot.
Wait, are you the kind of bettor that if you win, like say you place a $10 bet, and then you win a $3,000, are you the kind of bettor that bets that $29.90 because it's just wins, or do you save some of it? And
it depends on the bet.
Okay.
And so typically I try to bet in segments.
Yep.
So I'll say I'm betting this week. And so you put in, say, for some people it might be $10. For some it's like, I'll just throw 100 in there for this week. And then I'm going to play for this week and see what I can get it up to. And if you sit there and you're at I got $50 with a couple days left, it's I might slow down and just see if I can find a couple easy wins. If you wind up with 400 with a day left, you might be like, oh, maybe 200 of that I'll mess around with. Make sure I get the $100 profit.
Yep.
There was one though, so you make all the season-long bets for the NFL, and all those pay out basically at the same time at the end of the year. There's a couple where it's you have Cortland over 700 receiving yards. That might come a couple weeks early. A couple years ago, I hit almost every one of them.
Dang.
And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to take half of this. I'm going to put it on a parlay with a Super Bowl winner and with Jokic to an MVP. And it would have been a massive payout, but they gave it to Embiid, which that one was a killer. So I've gone back and forth. It just kind of depends. But Bet365 is the place where I go because the odds are awesome, because I've talked about this before. I love the super boosts. It's obviously baseball season up next. Ooh, I think I'm going on Saturday. I'm going to convince somebody maybe to go Sunday. Oh, no, we'll be here Sunday, so hopefully Friday also. That reminds me of another thing. We got to get through this. If you use the code DNVR365 to sign up, you can deposit $10, choose between either a bet and get offer, replace a bet of $5 or more, get $150 in bonus bets, or you can make a bet up to $1,000. If that qualifying bet loses, you receive a match refund. Bonus bets must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. If you have a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
And if you have a problem with your roof, you need to check out Red Hawk Roofing. They are the best roofers in Denver, and they are the best because they use quality materials. They have decades of experience. They are Colorado's best estimators and contractors, and they're huge DNVR supporters. The reason why we love Red Hawk Roofing is, 1, they take care of you. 2, they have a quick response time. And then 3, they also offer a couple free things that help you when deciding if you need a new roof or a replacement roof. So you can get a free no obligation roof and property inspection. You can get a free in-depth photo reports for all inspections, and they will give you a free upgrade to a hail-resistant shingle. So, in Colorado, we get all 4 seasons, and those 4 seasons include snow, hail, rain. It's best to keep yourself protected and keep your home protected with a new roof. And if you're looking for a new roof over your home or business, be sure to check out redhawkroofing.com. And you can also call 720-771-8921 and tell them DNVR sent you.
I remembered while I was going through this. Twisters is what they call it. The new Twister comes out, I think today maybe, in theaters.
You're talking about the movie Twister, not the game.
Yes. Did you
guys ever play Twister?
That was a good game. Because I was kind of tall when I was younger. I stopped growing kind of young, so I could reach all the different spots.
So you just sprawled out.
Yeah, I was pretty good at that one.
Right hand, right dot, left hand blue dot.
Yeah, exactly. And then like your foot goes somewhere weird. But Twisters, they're showing it at the pavilions in 4DX.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And I've
That'll
read
be
a review
crazy.
from people who've gone earlier, and I tried to skim it because I really hate spoilers. Apparently, it really is crazy.
Wow.
With like the wind and the rain and like that is definitely something that I'm going to do in the near future.
What if you come out like just drenched, like you've really been in a?
I wonder, because they wouldn't make you too wet. You wouldn't think.
Whoa.
There you
You know
go.
what I'm saying?
But yeah, it's like $25. So I'm not sure when this is going to happen, but I need to go to that because that just sounds like a life-changing experience.
No, it sounds like it would be dope.
It sounds incredible.
Yeah.
With the wind.
Buckle up.
Like that for the Terminator and Shrek.
Terminator and Shrek. I asked.
Shrek? You talking about like at Universal Studios? Yep.
Oh
yep.
yeah.
And the Terminator one at the Universal Studios.
Yep. Those are dope.
You shake when you get like the wind blowing at you.
Uh huh.
Did you ever do? I think it's like a Bug's Life. That's also it's like Disney. Well, one of those.
I've only done those two.
But it's all the stuff that's like walking over your feet and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Twisters is going to be incredible. Back to the conversation though. And somebody mentioned this in the chat, but yeah, Blake Watson, the running back, wound up on the non-football injury list a couple days ago. No real details about what happened there, but sounds like he and Audric Estime maybe not around for the start of camp. Audric, we just don't really know. His doesn't sound too serious. You'll remember he missed kind of second half of the
scope.
spring workouts. Exactly. So I'm curious about those. I'm also curious if you think if things are different on the defense in terms of playing the preseason. Because offensively, I think the Broncos, just given where they are, building around Bo Nix, they just have to get guys reps. Defensively, I wouldn't play Pat Surtain all that much. And maybe there's a couple other guys like that.
Yeah, Pat Surtain is probably high on the list that he doesn't really need much playing time. You know, a couple reps to kind of get warmed up. Singleton, a lot of the members of the D line will probably be solid. But there's a couple other guys. The reason why you would play those guys is that you have so many new pieces. You want them to gel together. So you got to keep Pat out there with the rest of the starting secondary if they're out. And you got to keep Singleton out there, as well as like DJ Jones and some of the guys up front, just to have these new units kind of like gel together.
Yep.
But for like actually being prepared for the season, these guys are prepared. They're vets. They know how to play the game of football. But it's just more so about putting them together on the field at the same time so they can learn how each other operates under pressure and kind of know what the other one is thinking so they can play at their best.
Awesome. Speaking of Pat Surtain, let's get into our final list. We've been going through these ESPN top 10s by position. So far, only two Broncos have been mentioned. They haven't had a single player in the top 10 up to this point.
Yep.
But they got Quinn Miners as an honorable mention. Cortland Sutton received a vote. And it's pretty bleak. I think I saw some teams, the most was 7 players in the top 10.
That's can I guess the team? Do you know who it is?
I can check real quick. I think I know.
7 players. That's tough. Maybe
One has 9 actually.
Wow, and all in the top 10. I would say the Ravens got to be up there.
Ravens have 7. That's
Okay.
tied for second.
Chiefs are going to have a few from Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Nick Bolton, Chris Jones.
Yep.
Snead probably made the list.
He's with the Titans, but they did get it.
But does it count for them though?
Nope. But they do have a
Okay.
different cornerback in the top 10, Trent McDuffie.
Oh,
We'll
okay.
get to later. Yeah.
And then Reed was in the honorable mention.
Yes.
Okay. So that's
But remember, they had 3 interior linemen. All 3.
all 3 of the
That's
front.
right. Yeah. So they wound up with 7.
Okay. Dang, somebody has more than
Somebody
them?
has 9.
Oh, 49ers.
Yeah, it's the 49ers. Yeah, the Broncos, though, got their first player in the top 10 today. Here are the top 10 cornerbacks, starting with number 1, Pat Surtain.
Yes, sir.
That's I was a little bit nervous about this one because it felt like the vibes have been a little bit lower on Pat. I think they actually wrote that. Since this is the first player in the top 10, let's actually read what they said. So Pat Surtain, he was actually ranked as low as number 10 by one of the voters, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
He was number 1 last year. He's number 1 again this year. They wrote, more than 50% of voters consider Surtain to be the best cornerback the game has to offer. Quote, complete corner that can play in any coverage and has size, instincts, ball skills, and will tackle. That's from an NFL personnel director. I like corners that can do it all. But several evaluators saw slippage in his play in 2023, and his grip on the top spot wasn't overwhelming. Surtain allowed 58 receptions for 790 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception on 90 targets as the nearest defender. Good enough for a 102.5 passer rating for opposing quarterbacks. The context, according to multiple coaches who prepped for Surtain, is Denver sometimes played in softer zones that attach Surtain as the nearest defender quite loosely at times. And random plays such as the 68-yard double move score from Robbie Chosen late in a blowout loss to Miami affected the bottom line. I am very sorry we had to bring that up. Surtain played 535 coverage snaps, which is a high volume. And the last quote from an NFL coordinator, he did not have the best year, but he's still the best pure talent. He moves the best, and you can do the most with him as far as coverage. So if I'm starting a team, I'm probably picking him. Kind of summed it all up right there.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot to argue with.
No, I somewhat agree with their play, and I think that that point about he was the closest defender sometimes, even though he wasn't actually defending that guy.
Yeah.
I think that happens more often than not, because if you look at his film, I don't even remember seeing 700 yards worth of catches given up by Pat.
No.
But no, I do think he's the best corner in the NFL. I do think last year wasn't his best year, but it was still better than 99% of the league.
Yep.
So without a doubt, I feel like he's the best corner in the league.
Yeah, I think so too. And we talked about this a little bit, but Sauce Gardner gets a lot of the attention. He gets the interceptions. He has kind of like the flashier plays, whereas Pat is, kind of all alone on an island, just kind of doing his thing on the backside of plays often, just because quarterbacks don't look that way. It's good, though, that the people, because remember, these are the voters. We should say this. 80 voters, they're all coaches or execs or scouts. Those people realize that.
They understand, and there are people that are really know the game and understand the game. It's not just about how many commercials you have or how many times people can see your face on TV so they recognize you and think you have to be the best. It's about people who actually evaluate film, prep to play against Sauce and Pat, so they know who's the best.
Exactly. I think that the fan perception of players sometimes is right on, sometimes it's off. And it seems like fans have a good sense of, is a quarterback good? And media falls in this category too. Is a quarterback good? Is a receiver good? Is a running back good? Just because those are so obvious and so right there. Whereas, what do you think of this linebacker? You really have to tune in because there's so many different things happening, and you're probably just staring at the quarterback anyway. What's going on with this defensive tackle? Kind of the same thing. Like, you might get some splash plays. Defense, it's good to hear what the execs have to say. And we're going to come back to this in a second. But real quick, got to tell you about Shady Rays. It's almost camp season. Again, we don't have our schedule quite yet for next week. Saw somebody asking the chat, does camp start tomorrow? Camp does not. Camp for fans at least starts Friday, but we might have a couple of practices in before that for media. Just, again, in this job, you don't really know when things are going to happen until like the day before. So we don't know exactly what that's going to look like quite yet. But I do know that I need to get some new Shady Rays before we're out there every day, because it's going to be sunny. It's going to be hot. What's it like as a player going through those situations in training camp? Because I know as media, we're just standing there and it's 90 degrees in the sun and it's just brutal.
Oh yeah, no, it feels the same for us.
Yeah. But like,
we're definitely not
you would think it'd be worse.
Yeah.
Like, it just seems like it would be miserable wearing all that gear and you're running and doing all that stuff.
Yeah, it's not fun. You're definitely ready to go inside after a long day and take a break. I think after training camp practices is when you'll see the most guys in the locker room just like sitting there like in the days just looking forward, because you're in this like grind of practice, day off, practice. Like you're just grinding, and it's so hot and you're so tired and you've been there for so long. It's a lot.
Yep. Well, maybe it would have felt a little bit better if you were wearing Shady Rays during practice, because I know I will be, and you should too. There's a whole bunch of different perks. First of all, that they're great sunglasses. That's why they're rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. But also they're polarized. They'll replace them if you lose or break them. They'll exchange them if you just don't like them if you return them within 30 days. And exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com, use the code DNVR, and you get 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades that are rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
And a huge shout out to our friends over at True Fan Travel. Right now, you can sign up for Broncos and also Buffs. Shout out to our Buffs pod. Trips. They have multiple trips coming up this year.
Nebraska.
And it's going to be great. I think the Buffs are going to have a great season, so you don't want to miss out. And also the Broncos are going to have a great season. And the trip that we are taking you guys on this year is for Tampa Bay, September 22nd. And our trip package includes a 3-night stay at the Wyndham Grand Clearwater Beach, a True Fan boat party, a questionnaire with Broncos alumni.
That's you.
Para mí.
Oh, I got to get my questions ready.
You have questions?
And for the Q&A.
All right. Well,
I'll have to bring some.
I cannot answer questions too, though. I can not choose.
Or you could just give us a
list of questions
talk out of
answer.
it. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. Oh, you could plant some questions.
Yeah, that's probably what I'll do.
Yeah.
Smart. I'll have Zach with the planted questions.
Yeah.
You have an all-inclusive tailgate party, round trip, transportation to the game. You get a game ticket to the Broncos versus Buccaneers game. You get on-site trip coordinators and more. You can head to truefantravel.com to secure your spot with a deposit. That's truefantravel.com to get all the details and secure your spot.
That is going to be a whole lot of fun. Everybody should come to that. That's going to be an awesome trip.
Yep.
Also, it's only like what? 2.5 months?
It's coming up fast.
Is that right? Yeah. Also, I want to remind you guys, Sunday, the reason we're not doing the show tomorrow is because on Sunday at 1 o'clock, we are doing a live show from the bar. Not from up here, but from down there in the bar. And hopefully that's enough reason because you guys want to come see the show live and meet Todd and do those sorts of things. But if that doesn't convince you, this probably will. We're actually giving away 4 totally free trips to Las Vegas. You get to stay at Circa, which we've obviously both stayed there. It's an incredible place to stay.
Awesome.
It is incredible. It's 3 nights, November 22nd through the 25th. That's the weekend that the Broncos are in town in Vegas. You also get free flights. So it's free flights. It's a free stay at Circa. 3 of those 4 are going to just random raffle winners. So you just have to show up. You're entered for free. And you just have to, I think there's like a drawing every hour. So at like 2, 3, and 4, something like that. Maybe it's 3, 4, 5. You just have to be hanging out with us, and you might get one of those. The other one is going to the winner of our College Football 25 tournament. So you can sign up for that, see the details. I'm not sure. Do we have a link for them, you hear? Oh, yeah, that's right. It's right below this video. Just go right down below. You can click. It's $20 if you want to be in the tournament. There's only 8 spots, so the best of the 8 of you wind up with a free trip to Vegas. Or you can just get your free general admission ticket. Totally free. Could win a crazy trip to Vegas. This is a steal. I don't know why you wouldn't do it unless you would have to really hate our show to not do this. So hopefully we'll see a bunch of you on Sunday. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Come on down.
Yep. Cool. Getting back into the Pat Surtain stuff.
Wait, before we get back into stuff, somebody said, I remember Tinder Hank. Were you hanging out on Tinder?
So back
in the day?
Back before I was on the Broncos beat, we did this pregame show. And so it was like 9:30 to 11 every Sunday morning. And so it was 9:30 to 11. So you lead right into the early morning games.
Okay.
We have one segment that was Hank's Tinder picks.
Wow.
And so I went on Tinder, and so I just matched with as many people as I could.
Wow.
And then I would just ask everybody for a different pick. Most of them who I've never talked to before. It's like, hey, do you think the Bengals will cover 5.5 points?
So you weren't matching because you guys were into each other. It was just for football.
at first it would be match because again I'm like very single at the time. Like I would match because I'm into you.
Yep.
And so ideally you'd wind up with enough of them. If you don't, then all of a sudden it's like we got content to fill here. So that was the same. And there was a lot of like Tinder stories.
Drunk before 10 a.m.
Every
I believe
week.
it.
Well, because again, I wasn't working on Sundays. So it was me and it was Dre and it was RK who would do like the shows from here after the game. That was like a crazy time because it started during the pandemic. Because like everybody's just watching from home. We had like people sending in food from like England, all sorts of different countries.
Yeah.
And so we do like a segment where it's like try these like weird foods from wherever. It was a fun show.
That sounds like fun.
I know. We might need to. We're still working on our plan for the pregame, postgame shows.
Hey, listen, I won't be on Tinder. I'll tell you that right
That's
now.
true.
You know
No
what I'm
more
saying?
Tinder for us, which is a good thing actually. I should change that tone.
Yeah, you there.
Yeah. No, it's just content-wise, Tinder was awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh yeah, back to Pat Surtain. Some people I've noticed have said like, if you're gonna have a really good player, a cornerback can be kind of a waste. And that's because the quarterback can just throw the other way, and the Broncos haven't had good enough play around him to really stop teams from just going somewhere else. What do you think of that?
I don't think that's a waste at all, but you do need other good players. It's hard
Yes.
to win. You're saying it's hard to win with just one good
Yep.
cornerback. I mean, it's hard to win with just one good safety. It's hard to win with
That's
just
kinda
one good edge rusher.
That's the
like
thing.
if you don't have any other like good players on your team, it's going to be hard to win having one superstar at any position.
Yep.
I think quarterback is probably the only one that if you had a superstar quarterback, he may be able to elevate your team enough to help you win more games.
Yep.
Or maybe running back as well, because it's a less dependent positions. But yeah, I think it's tough if you don't have help around any position to be successful for a season or make a push to playoff, Super Bowl. You need more than one position to have a pretty good or dominant player.
Yep. I think the only other position, like quarterback far and away is the one. Running back sneaky is another. And people have kind of stopped. People hate running backs now, and there's some good reason for parts of that. Running backs can also take over and just like Derrick Henry carried that Titans team a long way a couple times. But yeah, I think that's the big thing. And I think that when the Broncos are in the position they're in, it's easy to say like, well, it's kind of a waste to have this great cornerback. And it's like, well, yeah, but like you said, you have a great player anywhere else, it really isn't going to matter. The goal, though, is to have good players at all the positions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the 49ers being a good example of that, a team that just has 9 top 10 players. Where does that get them? Conference championship every year, some Super Bowl appearances in there too. So I think that it's a little bit short-sighted. In the Broncos situation, yeah, like could you justify trading away Pat because you're not going to be able to win just because of him? I guess, but at the same time, what are you really building toward? What are you trying to use those picks on to find another Pat Surtain, really?
Yep.
So I think that like you said, it's a team game. You need to have good players across the board. But I also think that when you have a guy like Pat Surtain, it should change how you build the team. I think that you should look for a second really good cornerback. I think that you want something to pair with them so that all of a sudden you have a strength going into each game. You know, right now it's nice to have Pat because, you know, you play the Raiders, put him on Devontae Adams. The rest of that team really isn't all that scary. And there's some examples of that. But there are a lot of teams like the Chiefs, for example. Sure, you have him take away Rashee Rice, but they still have so many other threats. It doesn't matter, and it's not like Rashee is such like a game-changing player for them that taking him away totally changes what they can do. But I'm right there with you. Like I think it's kind of silly to think like that because it's obvious the Broncos need more good players. And once they get a couple more, then all of a sudden you start having the right pieces that you can kind of figure out week to week what to do. Because right now, there aren't a lot of options game planning wise because you just don't have too many weapons on defense.
Yeah, and like you said many times, it's about building.
Yes.
And you're trying to build a championship caliber team. And when you're doing that, it doesn't make sense to lose the foundation or building blocks that you do have just because you don't have other blocks to go with it. Like when you find a good foundation piece, okay, you need to add more foundational pieces to be able to build this house that can take you to the Super Bowl. If you get rid of the foundation you do have for picks in the future or more money, but you're not replenishing it, you're going to have to replenish it with another foundational piece in that same position.
Yep.
So it doesn't make sense to let go of the players that you do have. It's like letting Quinn walk right now.
Yeah.
For us right now, he's a foundational piece to the offensive line. He's going to be one of the things that help us get over the hump as far as like running the ball and being dominant when we talk about like that push that the O-lineman gives. If we were just to let him walk because we didn't want to pay $20 million a year, or we didn't feel like we had a center to pair with him, or we didn't feel like we had like, you know, the running back that was going to run for the best behind him, that would be dumb. Yeah. So it's just good to keep the pieces that we do have. And we just got to keep finding more pieces.
You get like, I've seen... There are a lot of people on Twitter who like to talk about these lists, and one of the things I saw when talking about Quinn is that it's bad team building. Oh, this is after the contract, actually. After the contract, somebody said, and I'm sure there are others saying it too, it's just bad team building to make a guard the highest paid player on your team. Like that is not the position that you invest in. And in a vacuum, that's right. Like that isn't the position where you should be investing all that money, but you'll only have the team that you have. Like you can't just say like, oh, well, Quinn doesn't play tackle, so I guess we'll just pay it to the tackle, because there is no tackle to give that money to.
Exactly.
Like you're not going to find that generational talent anywhere else, because especially in the current NFL with the franchise tag, all that sort of stuff, the best of the best don't hit free agency very often. You know, you hope that some of those guys kind of leak out from the team like the 49ers because they just don't have the salary cap space, but they find room for Debo. They find room to extend Christian McCaffrey. They find room for their very best players, and it's that second tier, third tier that sometimes you just have to accept they're going to leave. So while in a vacuum you might not like, you know, we're giving all this money to the guard, like the guard's your highest paid player, it's your only option. Like he's your only great offensive player. You'd be crazy to let him walk because of the position that he plays.
Yeah, and I don't think that just because we got good deals on other positions means that we can't pay another position, you know, what he's rightfully owed. Like we kind of came to the, you know, conclusion that Quinn was probably going to get $20 million no matter where he went. And so just because we got to deal with Garrett Bowles and we got to deal with McGlinchey, we have to now get a deal with him. I don't think that's the same. It's not the same.
Yeah,
exactly. I don't think those guys, we were talking about Bowles and McGlinchey, I think their deals were market value at the time.
Yep.
So all we did was give Quinn market value, just like we gave everybody else market value. And I don't think that means that we should have gave him less money because his market value at the time is higher than what the tackles were when we acquired them.
Exactly. Let's run through the rest of this list real quick. Number 2 at cornerback, Denzel Ward. Number 3, Sauce Gardner. Number 4, L'Jarius Sneed. Number 5, Jalen Ramsey. Number 6, Trent McDuffie. Number 7, Jair Alexander. Number 8, Jalen Johnson. Number 9, Devon Witherspoon. Number 10, Derek Stingley Jr. Some new faces on there for sure, especially kind of in the bottom half. Trent McDuffie at 6. I think that's right. That's a really, really good, versatile cornerback. It just sucks to see the Chiefs just have so many good players. It just over and over. And, like, these are the young guys, too. Like, the reason the Chiefs are still competing for championships at this point, despite giving all the money they give to Mahomes and Chris Jones and Travis Kelce, and there's that whole list, is that, you know, we've talked about Nick Bolton. We've talked about, like, I guess they pay Thuney, the guard, but you still have Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith on that offensive line who are on rookie contracts. You've got Nick Bolton on a rookie contract, Trent McDuffie. They've just hit on so many of these picks that the Broncos are in tough shape. Rashee Rice, Isaiah Pacheco.
Yeah. They hit in the draft. As much as they have good talent, as much as they have a good quarterback, they continue to find talent in the draft year in and year out. And that's what separates them. Because, to be honest, after Tyreek Hill left, it should have been a fall off. Even when you have a good coach, even when you have the quarterback, there should be, but they were able to find more pieces. And they really loaded up the defensive side of the ball. It felt like the offense carried the team for so long. They won a Super Bowl then, and then all of a sudden, you lose Tyreek Hill. Travis Kelce's production kind of goes a little bit, and then now our defense is stellar, so that now we need to score less points, and we need to be less dominant on offense. But our defense, they've done a great job of I guess you want to say counterbalancing whatever their weakness is at the time. They've really been able to counterbalance that and be their best. I hate talking about them, you know what I'm saying, because I don't want to give them credit. But one thing that you can recognize in the draft, they hit in the draft.
They do. And you just hope that that's luck and not sustainable. The other thing here, seeing Trent McDuffie at number 6, you look at some of the others, Jalen Johnson at 8, Devon Witherspoon at 9, Derek Stingley at 10. I think that a lot of what separates Trent McDuffie is that he's made big plays in big games. Those other guys just haven't played in big games. And so I think it's easier to go from, instead of being number 10 on this list, you're number 6 on this list because you play for the Chiefs. And credit to him for making important plays in those big moments. The Chiefs also got him those big moments and gave him those opportunities. So I think that that's where, I don't want to call it Chiefs bias, but it certainly helps to be on a really good team. Same thing with L'Jarius Sneed at number 4, really good corner, jumps in front of Jalen Ramsey this year. What happens if L'Jarius Sneed has just been playing for the Raiders, for example, and hasn't quite gotten the attention, hasn't quite had those same opportunities? So I think that that's helped him a little bit too on some of these lists. I wanted to slander the Chiefs some.
No, it does help, and being on good teams help with so many different things. That is definitely one, because you get to play in the biggest moments. Everybody gets to see your play, and so automatically, if you do make a play in those big moments, you're that much better than the next guy up who, may have had 7 picks this year, but the whole world didn't see a single one of them. And then also things like him playing on the edge and having great interior D linemen and great edges. These plays that are bouncing to Pat at times or other corners around the league, they're not even coming to the outside. So there's not times where he has to get off a block, he has to come and make a tackle, and if he misses that tackle, now he's not a good tackler. He's not even having those issues because of the players that are around him. So, we talked about Justin Simmons and how much, his tackling, people didn't think his tackling was as good in the beginning of the year and got better over time. Well, if you look at,
there's a massive running lane right up the middle. The guy's coming 20 miles an hour straight at him.
Exactly. What do you look at the defense over the year, the defense got a lot better. So Justin didn't have to come down and make 10 tackles a game. I'm not running from 15 yards deep trying to take the right angle on this running back running, a 4-3. It's a lot different as far as the pressure that some of these guys are under that puts them higher on the list, because I'm not saying their jobs are easier, but they make the big plays, and then the plays that aren't theirs to make, they don't have to feel stressed to make them.
And speaking of Justin Simmons, if you're playing as the Broncos free safety, you got Pat Surtain on one side, you've got kind of the rotation on the other side. Which way are you leaning? You're leaning towards the not Pat Surtain side, and that makes things tougher for Pat. When you've got, L'Jarius Sneed and Trent McDuffie, well, then all of a sudden, Justin Reed can be like, hey, I might help out on this side a little bit more this time, help out this side. He might just be playing neutral, and that helps both those guys out a little bit, having help in front or help behind them.
Help over the top. They have true help over the top.
Exactly.
Where Pat is like, hey, man, if he takes off, we may need you to make this play because he's leaning the other way. Even though based on the coverage, you should have over-the-top help. It's more like, hey, can you help us out? You know what I'm saying? Justin may get there, PJ may get there, but if he doesn't, you might have to, make this play. And some guys don't have to deal with that. Exactly.
I'm glad we bounced out all the Chiefs hype. Honorable mention, Marlon Humphrey, Trevon Diggs, AJ Terrell, Travarius Ward, Christian Gonzalez, Marshawn Lattimore. I like seeing Christian Gonzalez on the list. Rookie last year. He was a Buffalo when I was covering the Buffalo, so I got to know him pretty well. Just a good, awesome kid. It's always weird to see those guys and know them when they're 18 or 19, and now they're NFL star. And I didn't realize he had played well enough to make this list as a rookie. He was hurt for most of the year, but for me personally, I love seeing that.
There it is. How do you feel about Trevon Diggs? I always have mixed feelings about him as a player.
Playmaker. I think so. Here's the receiving votes category. You got Deron Bland, Reek Woolen, J.C. Horn, DJ Reed, Darius
Deron Bland,
Slay.
who led the NFL in picks.
Yep. So I think
Isn't he a Sac State guy?
he is.
And he went to what school did he go to? Sacramento State, right? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
There
Any
you go.
Montanans on that list?
I don't.
Not
Last
since,
cornerback we would have had
Big
is
Trey?
Tremaine. Yeah. He was awesome.
Yeah, he was nice.
He was awesome.
Yeah.
He was awesome. Yeah.
No, he was nice.
He was the highest paid cornerback in the NFL there for a minute.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
he was. I feel like there's more cornerbacks like him now, but I don't think cornerbacks were like that. Like Pat 6'2", Sauce is 6'3".
Yeah, exactly.
All these guys are tall now, but he was like 6'3", 200 pounds at corner. Like he was a beast.
Yeah.
But he's not on the list anymore.
Yep.
And
Helped. He was around for the vacated wins there at Montana too. Well, a true legend up there.
for sure.
True legend.
What do you feel about Trayvon Diggs? Do you like him as a player?
I like him. I mean, he's certainly not Pat Surtain. I think that if you could put him across with Pat Surtain, I think that you could do some really good things. I think that even pairing him with a Deron Bland, which is kind of where I was going, you have an identity there. You know, you're going after interceptions. You're a turnover-based defense. And if you have a Micah Parsons who can get the ball out quick, make the quarterback make mistakes, I see how it works. I can also see how against good teams in the playoffs in particular, maybe that isn't exactly who you want. Maybe you just want somebody who doesn't give up big plays, doesn't give up really anything in a Pat Surtain sort of way. And so that might be a flaw. But again, if somebody said, hey, do you want Trayvon Diggs on the Broncos? Sign me up in an instant because I think he'd wind up with a bunch of interceptions across from Pat.
Yeah, it's like I'm always conflicted because you have to be willing to give up in order to get the big plays with him. And so in my mind, he's a lot like Josh Allen to me.
Yeah.
Like he may lead the league in touchdowns, but he may also lead the league in interceptions. He may have a lot of picks, but he may also get big plays because he's guessing trying to make that big play. So it's always tough. And I know there's like a little bit of give and take to making big plays in the NFL. Like, it was kind of understood, like even when Vaughn was on the team, like, hey, he may jump off sides at times because he's trying to get a beat on the quarterback. But he makes so many plays that 1 or 2 offsides within a year, like it's not a big deal.
Yep.
But sometimes with certain players, it's like, okay, they get 10 sacks, but they also have 10 offsides. It's like, can we cut down some of those risks that we take to get those big plays? And that's kind of how I feel about him. I feel like he's a great player, but he does take like a lot of risks.
100%. Yes, we did. Oh, okay,
we gotta hurry.
Also, the other thing about Vaughn is he was really good when he was offsides. Like there's some guys where it's like you jump offsides and like, oh, what was I doing? And then all of a sudden it's a free play.
Yeah.
If you give Vaughn an advantage, there's no free plays that are happening.
No,
it's a
not at
straight
all.
5-yard penalty because he's on the quarterback and that whistle's blown immediately.
Yeah.
And
And like I said, it didn't happen that often to really be like, the same amount as he got sacks.
Yep. Finishing out the list, Jack Jones, Joey Porter Jr., Martin Emerson. All right. We got about 7 minutes here for this draft. What are we drafting, Yaya?
Snacks, I think is what I saw.
Snacks. Okay, we got snacks. This is tough. You want the first pick or should I take him?
I'll take the first pick.
Okay.
Got 5 rounds.
Yep, 5 rounds, 5 snacks.
I think I got to go with one. I haven't even had time to research, but
I know.
the first one is just iconic, and I think from my childhood, from a lot of people's childhood, like you can't go wrong with hot Cheetos.
Okay, yep.
Hot Cheetos. I mean, you could do hot Cheetos with sour cream. You could do hot Cheetos with chili. You could do
nacho cheese when you walk into 7-Eleven and they charge you that extra $1.
Yes. Hot Cheetos. You could do crunchy. You could do puffs. Like hot Cheetos is a top 10 snack of all time for sure.
There are just so many good options. Give me a Lunchable. Give me Lunchables.
Lunchables are dope.
Lunchables are good. Because it's a snack, but it's also like a snack that feels like almost it doesn't fill you up like a meal, but it's just a great snack.
No, it was
Unbelievable.
I think Lunchables all around, like, and like the old school ones didn't even come with much. It was like cheese, crackers, and ham, but it felt like a big deal. And then you had that little piece of candy at the end, and you got like a Capri Sun, like
It's the OG charcuterie board. That's what it is.
Wow.
It's the kids' security board.
Honestly, it might be
yeah.
better. I think it might be better.
Oh, okay. So I'm back up.
No, Hank have it back to back.
Oh.
Oh, we were doing like
Yeah, we've been going back and forth. We can go
Yeah.
back and forth.
Okay, so cereal's not snacks. So we won't do cereals. But I feel like another one that was iconic, especially growing up, you could do so many things with, is a fruit roll-up.
Yeah.
Fruit roll-ups, you could just take it out, rip it apart, and eat it. You could wrap it around your finger, like
Yep.
you could do some.
You could wrap it around your finger.
Remember the commercials where they put it in their tongue and like let it roll
Yeah.
and then like start just waving their head back and forth?
Exactly.
See, the thing about fruit roll up is that, I could also draft like fruit by the foot and kind of just cancel it out.
No, that's not the same.
No.
That is fruit. Oh, Airheads.
Airheads
yeah.
is the other one that I'm
Airheads
doing. I'm
are
sorry, I'll
good.
stop giving you guys answers. That's the
Yeah,
other.
yeah. Bagel bites. Give me bagel bites.
Bagel bites.
That's a tough word for me. Again, like, I feel like I'm going a little bit intense with my snacks so far, so I'm gonna have to balance that out. But exactly, but bagel bites. Oh my goodness, that's another one I could just eat every day, even at this point.
Yeah, even now.
Yep.
Where do I want to go with this next one? Okay, I have two in mind. They're the same, but they're different. Is a Pop-Tart and a toaster strudel
I think
different?
No.
They are different.
I think they're different.
They are
I think
different.
So I
they're
have to pick
different. So
between
you
the
pick
two.
one. Yep.
Pop Tart is like already has the frosting on top,
And the
toaster strudel you
you
gotta
gotta
put it
frost
on.
yourself.
It's a little bit
Yeah, yeah.
different. They are different.
Dang.
Yep.
Give me toaster strudel.
Oh.
I think
Ooh.
over Pop-Tarts? No.
Oh.
I think toaster strudel. I think they're both fire. So that's
And
hard to pick.
they're both really good. The
Hard to
toaster
pick.
strudel, I might lean toaster strudel, but I think that might just be because I've had so many Pop Tarts. Toaster strudel feels like more of like a
treat. It wasn't something that
Exactly.
was around as much as
Exactly.
the Pop-Tart. And you had to take the time to prepare it. Like Pop-Tarts, you could just get those in your lunch.
Yep.
And when you get to school, you could just break off the cinnamon ones.
Oh, yeah.
Was the best ones. You could just break that off and eat. But a toaster strudel, like you
have to
had to be,
actually
you had to
put
be,
it
you
in
had
the
to be at
toaster.
home to have toaster
Yeah.
strudel. Like that wasn't something you had
did.
at school.
They're different.
Yeah.
Similar but different.
I'll take Gushers. Give me the
Yeah,
Gushers.
yeah.
I want to get those. I also feel like they're pretty unique, because like I could take a Pop Tart, but there's nothing like a Gusher.
No. Gushers are in a class of their own.
I did actually have some of those. It would have been like a year or two ago now. Weren't quite as good as I remembered.
Really?
No, that's because the sugar is less sugar now.
Oh,
They
really?
actually changed the formula because of the sugar. Because I also bought a big box of them for our household.
Wow.
For your household, there's only two of you.
There's only two. So it's literally for me. It's me and if we have guests over. But like,
If we have guests, we'll break out the
yeah,
Gushers.
but like, I just eat Gushers as a snack nowadays.
One of my favorite cookies, and also Milk's favorite cookie. Give me Oreos.
Wow.
Can I do Oreos and peanut butter though?
Wow.
Because that's like my, you know what I'm saying.
Oh, I feel like you could. If you want to separate.
Let's just do Oreos.
Yeah, I think
Oreos are cool.
they'll do better in the vote. I'll take. Give me Doritos. It's a classic. I feel like I need some sort of chip on there.
Yeah, chip is yeah.
It's an underwhelming pick, but I think I've got to go with it.
Doritos were always good. I mean, you can't go
Yep.
wrong with Doritos.
Man, there's a Mexican snack where the Doritos are drenched in a nacho cheese, Mexican street corn, and then they add chili on top.
Oh, I've
like
never
it's like
had
a
that.
and then it has jalapenos. Perfect.
That sounds fire. Okay, I got a couple more that I like am thinking about on top of my head. I mean, you could go like a tapioca pudding from back in the day, but
Ooh.
I think for me, dang, what were the two I was thinking about? I just had them on top of my head. All right, I can't even think of them now. But I already have cookies. I already have.
You're well rounded.
So I could do like a Hot Pocket,
Mm-hmm.
which is fire. I had one in my hand. All right, you go and then I'll go after you because I can't remember the one I
Okay.
had.
I got the easy cheese. I love that little cheese in the can.
Little.
Put it on the Ritz crackers. Oh, yes.
Okay, these were the two I was deciding between. Do you guys like? Is Fun Dip better or
Ooh.
was a Ring Pop more iconic?
Oh,
Ring
boy.
Pop.
Ring Pop more iconic.
Yeah.
The Fun Dip.
Was
Fun
good.
Dip gets it. That's a tough one.
Fun Dip
I don't
was
think you can
fire.
go wrong.
I had
Yeah.
a Fun Dip last week. That's I'm not gonna lie to you.
I feel like you might have had this whole list in the last week.
Dude, all my little cousins and brothers are around the same age, and they give candy bags. I
Yeah.
always get one, so that's what I have on my candy right now.
All right, give me a Ring Pop for the win.
All right. That's going to do it for today. Oh, we got a super chat? Dustin Paul says, yeah, let me know if I read these words wrong. My eyes are bad. Congrats on the coaching internship, Todd. We are going to miss you this month, but I know we'll be cheering you on as hard as any player. Good luck out there. Please instigate the Alex Hank beef. Great. Cheers.
Much appreciated, Dustin. I'll definitely instigate as much as I can.
Yep.
And I'll make sure Alex is ready to tackle Hank again.
Yeah.
Oh, he didn't tackle you. It was the
No.
athlete.
Yes.
But
yep.
we'll get it situated again.
Yeah, he kicked my ass. That's gonna do it for today. Todd's last show until he takes his coaching internship. He will be back in a month. Will be Sunday. Tune in for that and come out here for it because we're giving away 4 free trips to Vegas. Please, please, please come to that. And we'll see you then.
We all silly like the mayor.